It keeps the drunk driver off the road.
For years and years, we dealt with drunk drivers by basically putting them on their honor.
This has been a very successful program for South Dakota. It reduces the number of reoffenders for DUIs. It is cost savings to the taxpayers, so it's been a very productive program for South Dakota.
While there is significant evidence that deterrence efforts such as DUI campaigns do work, there appears to be a subset of the larger population that remains immune to deterrence efforts. This is the power of the 24/7 Sobriety Project.
The reason 24/7 is so effective is it addresses the actual alcohol addiction. Some programs tie in the monitoring to driving, whereas the South Dakota 24/7 program requires individuals that are on the program to be sober at all times. They're required to either twice a day to go blow in a PBT to show that they are sober, or they wear a scram bracelet that automatically detects through perspiration any use of alcohol.
The threat of incarceration can be an extremely powerful motivator to encourage criminal offenders to initiate treatment.
We believe the 24/7 program works for the same reason an electric fence works, okay? If you touch an electric fence, you are immediately punished for having done so. The punishment is not severe, but it's immediate, and it's just hard enough that you remember it and it was unpleasant. And so the idea of the 24/7 program is you're instructed to stay sober and you're checked twice a day to determine if you have. And if you fail, you are walked right across the hall and immediately placed in custody. I was the local prosecutor in Bennett County. I observed as a rookie prosecutor that we dealt with the same people time after time after time. And their crime might be different. It might be DUI one day and petty theft the next day and spouse abuse the next day. But there was one thing in common among all the defendants, and that was they were usually intoxicated at the time they did whatever it was they did that got them into trouble. And our jail was full. And the sheriff and I concluded the only way we could keep people sober was to lock them up. So we set upon this idea of testing them twice a day, and we discovered that we could keep people sober for sometimes several months at a time just by doing what we had promised them we would do, is letting them go if they tested clean and putting them in jail if they didn't.
He convinced circuit court judges in those counties to require, as a condition of bond, that defendants totally abstain from the consumption of alcohol.
What they began to discover when they started doing it was, it works pretty good. And then what happened was they started to talk to each other about it. They started to talk to other sheriffs and started to talk to other judges. And that's when it started to catch on.
The statutes in South Dakota permitted the courts to utilize the 24/7 Sobriety Project as a condition of bond or pretrial release on a person's successful participation in the 24/7 Sobriety Project and payment of associated costs and expenses. As a condition of the granting of a suspended imposition of sentence, suspended execution of sentence, or probation upon successful participation in the 24/7 Sobriety Project and payment of associated costs and expenses. And as a requirement of parents of abused or neglected children to participate in the 24/7 Sobriety Project as a condition for the children to be placed back at home. Some participants will be required to take a breath alcohol test, others a drug test. The actual testing process is designed to be extremely efficient with the understanding of people's busy schedules, typically taking less than 60 seconds once a person is at the counter. When they enter the testing site, the participant will be tested by the next available testing technician. Before testing, the participant will state their name, and the testing technician can pull up their profile on the computer. A new mouthpiece is placed on the breath alcohol testing unit, and the participant is required to provide a breath sample. The instrument will analyze the sample and produce a displayed result, which is entered into the computer. If the analysis produces a breath alcohol concentration of 0.000, the individual is free to go. Since this is a zero-tolerance program, if a non-zero result is displayed, it is considered a fail.
The actual testing in practice, of course, is if an individual blows a hot test, he gets a second test. After he's sat there, the second test is the confirmatory test, and if that's positive for alcohol, then he has failed.
On a failed second test, the individual is immediately taken into custody and incarcerated. In smaller counties, the 24/7 sobriety program may test just a few participants. In the Rapid City, South Dakota site for the Pennington County 24/7 sobriety program, they have serviced more than 700 participants in each 3-hour testing period with a staff of 2 technicians and 1 administrator.
What we really want to know is, are we doing any long-term good?
The 24/7 sobriety program is producing impressive results. From the software's reporting aspects, the state of South Dakota has been able to record and track the program's results, with data collection starting in February 2005 and being continuously updated thereafter. These reports are showing extraordinary outcomes.
I love it. I mean, we are doing some great things, and what I'm really excited about is the data that we're starting to get. One of the things we did right when we designed this program is we designed it so that the sheriff's offices could input all the data on the internet, and the data is starting to look very good in terms of us making some long-term impact in reducing DUI recidivism in this state.
From an alcohol-related standpoint, through June 2010 in South Dakota, over 3.2 million tests have been administered twice daily to nearly 16,000 defendants.
They've been very successful. The pass rate is approximately 99.3%, so it's been a very productive program.
Since the program's inception in 2005, jail populations have decreased in most South Dakota counties.
Rather than going to jail, people are allowed the option of the 24/7 program, and they're utilizing that option as a way to basically comply with the court order and stay out of jail.
The program has helped reduce the daily jail population by almost 100 people in each of the state's 2 largest counties.
South Dakota's 24/7 program has been a very successful program to remove alcohol-impaired drivers off of our roads, and so it's been very positive for South Dakota in a sense that it saves lives and improves lives.
You know, when we started this program, we weren't really focused on highway safety. We were focused on the aspect of the program which would reduce jail populations and really tackle the core problem of alcoholism in the system. But one of the things we noticed was our alcohol-related traffic fatalities started to drop as we incorporated the program.
At the time the program was introduced, South Dakota had one of the highest DWI rates in the nation at 21.6%. And nearly 3/4 of those involved in fatal crashes had a BAC or blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher. From 2006 to 2007, alcohol-related traffic deaths in South Dakota declined by 33%, the highest decrease in the nation, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in 2008. In a year where the U.S. had a 4% decline in DUI fatalities, South Dakota outperformed every other state in its percentage of reduction of DUI fatalities. South Dakota's 24/7 sobriety program is one of the most progressive in the country. This award-winning program has reduced recidivism, cut jail and prison populations, and saved tax dollars by combining enhanced monitoring with real accountability. As we've seen, driving under the influence and alcohol misuse can be successfully combated with the 24/7 sobriety program. With this program, you can have the success experienced in South Dakota duplicated where you are. We invite you to view more of the up-to-date impressive results from South Dakota at the South Dakota 24/7 program website hosted by the South Dakota Attorney General. Visit sd247stats.com. That's sd247stats.com.